Who doesn't appreciate a little convenience in their healthy plant-based diet? In this video, I'm going to share with you my top 5 kitchen gadgets that I use regularly, weekly, if not daily. So I hope you enjoy this video. So my latest gadget is very, very helpful for anybody who drinks nothing but water all day, or like herbal teas or lemon water. This is a great way to kind of spice up your beverages and make it feel like you're drinking something other than water all day long. And there's nothing wrong with water. I love water. I just need a little something extra sometimes. This is my sparkling water maker, or Aquafizz, or I guess it's a SodaStream. I got this on sodastream.com for about 150 bucks. And the canisters, the CO2 canisters, are $30 up front, but if you recycle them, they're only $15. And I've had this thing for well over a month now, and I use it at least 3 to 4 times every day, and I fill this entire bottle up. So it has lasted quite a while. I feel like I'm definitely getting my money's worth. Otherwise, I just buy 12 pack after 12 pack of sparkling water cans, and I feel so wasteful using all those aluminum cans. All you do, and they come with this bottle. I wanted the glass bottles. They also have plastic that are a little cheaper, but I really like this model. So you just set the water, the plain water, in the device, seal it, and then you just press this button on top a few times. Whoop. And that means it's done. This thing always startles me a little bit because the CO2 canister is a little nerve-wracking. So you can hear all the fizz coming out. And there you go. Your very own delicious sparkling water. And it actually tastes better than the store-bought versions. So you can also get these packages of natural flavorings, but I don't like to put stuff like this in my body, so I just save it for my boyfriend if he wants to try it sometime. But you can flavor your sparkling water naturally with things like lime or lemon or some kind of berries. The reason I love this is because there's no cleaning involved. There's no electricity, there's no batteries. It's very straightforward, very simple. You just slide the CO2 cartridge in the back and press the button. That's it. It's powered solely on the cartridge. Very easy, and I can't believe I've gone all these years without it. All right, let's move on to the next one. I could not make this list without my smart oven. Yes, this thing is expensive, but when you cook all your meals from home, it's very worth the investment. This was about $400. You don't have to get the one that has so many functions. This thing toasts your bagels, cooks your pizza, it dehydrates your fruit. It has a setting for toast, baking, roasting, broiling, cookies. It's also an air fryer and a slow cooker, and I heat up my food in here. Like, I eat leftovers for nearly every meal every day. So it's really nice to have something that makes my food seem super fresh every time I'm eating it, as opposed to just using a microwave every time. And there's nothing wrong with microwaving your food. It's just that sometimes it gets kind of mushy and really watery. But this is just like an oven. It heats it up to a point where it really concentrates the flavors and makes it very bold and delicious tasting. Now, I'm a huge component of maintaining the water content in your foods. So a microwave is more ideal when it comes to like nutrient preservation and weight loss. But if you are trying to get the most out of the flavor of your meals, I feel that the smart oven is the way to go. It heats up so much faster than an oven, and it doesn't heat up your entire home. So you just have to make sure you have space above it and on each side. And we actually bought this cutting board particularly for the Breville because it gets so hot that you want to set things on top of it, but you don't want it to burn. So that's what this is for. We use this thing regularly, and it comes with your broiler, your air frying basket, and these racks as well. So you don't have to buy a bunch of separate parts. It also comes with a pizza tray. My boyfriend is not plant-based, and he uses this thing regularly for mainly his meat and pizzas and such. But with my plant-based diet, I use this thing all the time for particularly my squash and baking my daughter's muffins, as well as, like I mentioned, heating up all my food and my daughter's food. I use this to toast her English muffins and her toast, and I have yet to use the dehydrator, but I'm really excited about that. You can just find this on Breville.com, or I'm sure they have it on Amazon if you want to look there. But I especially like it because of the ease of function. All you have to do is move this dial to choose which of these options. Like if I was making cookies, put it on the cookie option. And then you determine the temperature, the amount of time that you want it to cook, and you press start. It preheats in a very short time frame. So it's so much faster than heating up a giant oven, and it's got this great technology where it actually distributes the heat more evenly throughout the device. So your food comes out nice and delicious in every bite instead of being like super mushy in one area and kind of hard in another area. It's all nice and evenly distributed. So if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you give it a like. It really helps to support my channel. And please leave your comments in the description box below so we know what your favorite plant-based gadgets are. I'm always looking for different ways to make this more accommodating to my life. This next one I have you guys to thank for. I was chopping up my veggies every single week, destroying my cutting boards, destroying my knives, because there is so much that goes into making a giant salad every week. For those of you who haven't seen my videos, I batch a huge salad container every single week and live off that throughout the 6 to 7 days that it lasts. And yes, it stays very fresh with different tricks I've picked up along the years. So this thing doesn't chop everything, obviously, but it does make your life a lot easier because this option in particular is for like grating. It makes very fine shavings, and it's just like using a grater, but you don't have to use so much force and so much pressure, and it's not so exhausting, especially with my beets and like carrots and potatoes. We use this to make hash browns, and mainly for my salad every week, I use this to chop up things that are rather difficult to chop with a knife, or they are just obnoxious. Or it gets to a point where your hand gets really tired from chopping so much and you just want some convenience. So yes, I could have gotten a food processor, but honestly, I hate food processors because I hate the cleanup. It takes forever to get every nook and cranny and to get every little piece of carrot or whatever it is that you're processing out of there. This thing is so easy. You just attach it with the little ends of the cup. That's it. And you just turn the knob. And if you need to apply pressure, that if you don't want to use your hands, like if you're getting too close to the blades, then use the guard and you just push it down on top of the item as you turn. The bowl actually came with it. I got this particular version on Amazon, but you guys can get it at maxam.com. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But I'll put all this information in the description box below, obviously, and links to the products if you're interested. But they also come with these individual canisters for different options of how you want to slice your vegetables. Like you can make French fries, you can make cucumber slices. I'm still discovering all the different things I can do with this particular item. This is a version of the Salad Master, so that was a little more pricey, and I couldn't find one brand new. I could only find a bunch of used ones like on eBay. So I just really appreciate destroying my own kitchen gadgets. So I got this new to make sure all the blades were nice and sharp and everything, because there's nothing worse than having a dull kitchen gadget that is not functional. So again, one of the main perks of this device is that it's so simple to clean. You literally just run it under water. It doesn't even need a ton of soap. You're just cutting up fruits and vegetables. And it's all stainless steel, very, very simple to keep clean and maintain. Oh, another reason I went with this model is because it stays put. It has these little suction cups on the bottom, and it actually does not move while you're turning it. It can get pretty violent in here with things like beets and carrots and potatoes. So you're really using a lot of pressure, but not nearly as much pressure as you would normally use with like a grater or if you were chopping the item. So you can put jicama in here and different, like I mentioned, carrots and beets and celery and apples. You can slice up zucchini, all kinds of fun stuff. So check it out if you haven't yet. I am very, very excited to discover all the different things I can do with this product. There are also recipes that you can make that are solely using this device. No chopping whatsoever. So I'm pretty excited to learn more about that. All right, let's move on to number 4. If I absolutely had to choose just one of these devices, it would by far be my Instant Pot. This is so valuable on a plant-based diet because it makes everything that you could possibly need to carry out this lifestyle. It is so convenient in that you literally just hit the button and walk away. You don't have to stand in front of a hot stove and stir the ingredients over and over and over because you're not using any oil, you're sauteing with water, or because you're boiling something, or because you're baking something. It's just literally touch and go. This is probably most useful for legumes. Cooking beans on the stove can take up to 8 to 10 hours. It is obnoxious. And not to mention, you have to also be sure to soak your beans for 8 to 10 hours as well prior to that. But with the Instant Pot, you really only need to soak your beans for a short while. Honestly, I prefer to soak them longer anyway, just because I feel that the texture and the consistency is a little better when you soak your beans longer, but it's not necessary. So when I'm in a bind, it's really helpful to be able to just toss them in here and press the bean button and walk away. So some other things I make in this are grain mixtures, or I like to make a number of different Instant Pot dump varieties. So if you guys haven't seen my vegan hacks video, I'll link it here. But it's super, super helpful when you are in a bind and you just need to toss some ingredients in here and then go run some errands or something and come home, or go clean up and then come back and dinner's all ready for you. It's super easy and the whole family enjoys it. It's just a mixture of grains, lentils, vegetables, and seasonings, and it has never come out tasting bad whatsoever. I can literally throw just about anything in here and press the for an Instant Pot dump, I typically do like 6 to 4 minutes depending on the type of grain I'm using, because you don't want to use a grain that is going to be too long of a duration cooking, and then it will destroy the rest of the contents, like the vegetables particularly, that only require a smaller amount of cooking. So anyway, yes, I use this thing a ton, and it was so cheap. It's probably the cheapest thing on my list. This was only like 70 bucks. I think I totally forgot to tell you guys that the Salad Master, the Maxim vegetable cutter I was just using, that was about 160, but also well worth the money. But anyway, so the only thing I'd really complain about with the Instant Pot is how difficult it is to clean. These little nooks and crannies are very difficult to get in and maintain. But I know that pieces come out and you can put them in the dishwasher and such, but it's still very difficult to get in there. So this is also great because it's stainless steel, so super easy to clean up, and it's a lot healthier than some kind of non-stick variety. This is just for when you're steaming. So I steam a ton of sweet potatoes and regular potatoes and my daughter's vegetables. So not only can you steam, but you can make chilies, soups, broth, meat, beans, porridge, rice, and you can steam. You can even saute in here if you need to before you cook something. I've used this for my oatmeal before. I make my family oatmeal regularly in the slow cooker, and this does double as a slow cooker. I just appreciate having my oats in a separate container, a separate device, so my Instant Pot is free to do other things with. And I do own a second one, but it's an 8-quart. This is only a 3-quart, so I got this particularly for traveling, and it takes less time for it to heat up and to release the pressure when you only have a smaller space to work with. So this thing is great if you don't have a ton of time, or if you're cooking your toddler's meals and it's very small, or if you're traveling on an airplane per se, or even in a car somewhere. It's really helpful to bring this thing along, and I take it everywhere with me. It's extremely useful. I actually use this to cook my family's entire meals for one of our vacations. And if you're interested in learning more about that, I'll link that video here. So I got this one at instantpot.com, but there are many places you can find an Instant Pot, and you don't necessarily need the Instant Pot, although I do find it's much more consistent than my off-brand, my 8-quart. So you may just want to splurge the little additional cash and get the Instant Pot. This thing can also come with an air frying top, but my Breville is my air fryer, so I'm not too concerned about that. Pressure cookers are also great because they preserve your nutrients. They are not going to destroy the majority of the nutrient profile like something like a Breville might do more of because of the high dry heat. This is wet heat, so it's not going to damage your nutrition nearly as much. Alrighty, you guys ready for the last one? I could not make this video without including my Vitamix. This is another high ticket item, but again, if you are making all of your meals from home, it is well worth the investment. This was about another $350, $400 on Vitamix.com, or you can find these on Amazon and other various places that sell kitchen devices. The reason why this blender is so special because it not only is warranted for 7 years. I used to go through a blender every year, literally. I'd have to buy a brand new blender every year. And yes, it was only like a $70 Ninja, but it was still an investment that I had to continue making that in all ended up being more expensive than had I just bought in the Vitamix in the first place. And this thing blends your food in a way that my Ninja never did. It literally blends the flavors so well that it creates a completely new experience. There's no chunks, there's no displacement of flavor, so everything is just perfectly blended to a point where all the flavors are heightened and they seem somehow tastier than if they had come from a blender with a less powerful motor. So this thing is so powerful that it can actually heat up your food. So you can make soup in this thing, but you have to be careful with that when you're making things like smoothie bowls, or when you're trying to like grind some seeds or some flour and you don't want to damage the nutrients too much. You really try to limit your amount of usage in this thing. So obviously I use this to make my daughter's smoothies and her smoothie bowls and her nice creams. But we also use this to grind up her chia and flax seeds. I make my own flour in the Vitamix. We use this thing to make plant milks and blending batter for my daughter's cakes and muffins. This blender is also self-cleaning, so you just fill it about halfway with water and some soap and turn it on high and it cleans up your blender. It also has one of these toggles so you can take off the top and push down your ingredients. I use that a lot for the smoothies in particular. So my only complaint about this thing is that sometimes I need it to slow down or just use a lower setting. But if you use the lower settings, it's actually kind of harmful when you're trying to blend things like frozen bananas or a bunch of pumpkin puree. It's very difficult to get this thing moving in the right direction. So yes, it would be nice if there was another blade higher up, but I've learned to manage with just the one blade. It also has this great mechanism where it shuts off if it does get too hot or if you're using it too harshly, because I throw a ton of ingredients in here sometimes, maybe way too much than I should be, and it is overworked and it just shuts off for a little while, cools down, and then comes back on and everything's working just fine. But it was really scary the first time that happened because I had just gotten the blender and I was like, oh my God, I just wasted $400 on this thing. But if you read the manual, it's very clear that they have awesome customer service and they will take care of any issues that go on in that 7-year time frame, regardless of the reason, regardless if it's operator intent. All right, guys, I so hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave me your suggestions in the comment box below so the rest of the community can see the different gadgets that we're missing out on. And I'll see you guys in the next one.